Hi there, my name is Steve Gerhardt, and as always, this is the Unagi Observer. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching the video. I truly appreciate it that you do that. This is a little fun thing for me to do. Anyway, we're going to do an anime review. We're going to do a review of 91 Days, a Prohibition Mafia type story. Before we get into that, just let me say, thank you for the kind words about my family member who is in hospice. I'll talk more about that, a little bit about that at the end of the video. So aside from that, let's go ahead and get started into the review of 91 Days. Okay, so sometimes you just sit there and you just go, I don't know what I want to watch, but I want to watch something. So you kind of cover your eyes and you make a blind pick. So that's kind of what I did the other day. I was sitting there on the couch going, I think I want to watch something, and scrolling through Crunchyroll, I went through a High Dive. There wasn't really anything I wanted to see. I mean, there's stuff I want to see on High Dive, but nothing was appealing to me in that moment. And so I went over to Crunchyroll and scrolling through the Crunchyroll selection, and I came across this thing called 91 Days, and I was just like, do I know anything about this? The title didn't seem familiar. The story seems a little familiar, but I'm not 100% sure. But I did not recognize the title. And it's one of those things where it's just kind of, I feel like this flew under my radar. And not that that's hard to do. We all have that anime watch list that's like hundreds of titles long, right? So this may be on that list for me. I just don't know. So anyway, so I was looking at it, and I noticed that, put on the description, and it was basically a crime drama set in Prohibition era. I think it's like the end of the 1920s. I think it's like 1929, 1930, I think is when it's set. And I, gangsters always appeal to me, even if it's like a slightly, fantastical, like Bakano was. Things of that era appeal to me. So I was like, yeah, why not give it a try and see if I like it. And so, I gave it the 3-episode treatment. I always watch things in 3 episodes to see whether or not I understand it, want to move forward on it, if I think it's any good, and yada, yada, yada. So I'll give you my review on all that stuff. By the way, I did enjoy the first 3 episodes, and I'll give you a review on that. I'll give you a plot summary, but first let's get into some of the details here. So this came out, actually, much to my surprise, in 2016. I thought it was a little bit more recent than that. But it came out in 2016. I believe the studio is, according to the notes, Shuka. The writer is Tako Kishimoto. That name might sound familiar. He's done a few things. He worked at Studio Ghibli, did work under Miyazaki, but did not get a certain job that he wanted under Miyazaki. So I believe he left Studio Ghibli, and he was then given the position of head screenwriter for Bunny Drop. And then that went on to Joker Game, Erased. There's some other stuff here. He did screenwriting for the remake of Fruit Baskets in 2019, which was nominated for Best Drama. And so he's done some stuff. So he's got some credibility. Like I said, this is a purely anime. I don't believe there's any manga to it. Apparently there is an OVA attached to this. So it's basically 12 episodes and 1 OVA. I guess it's a movie. It came on JNN. That's where it originally came out. Then, of course, Crunchyroll picked it up. And so now that you've got some of the particulars, let's go into the plot summary. So, like I said, this is set in Prohibition America. It starts off with 3 kids in a dining room playing a game, and 2 of them are kind of like 12 years old. One of them is like maybe 9 or 10, and the 2 friends, they're playing around with the kid and the mother is making a cake, and the father's not home yet. So the one of the kids goes, well, I have to go home now. And so his friend sees him off out of the house, and the kid gets on his bike and he's riding the bike down. The father comes the other way, sees the kid, the friend waves to him, and the kid smiles, waves back. It's a happy kind of thing. And apparently it's, even though the kid is going home, he wished his friend a happy birthday. The friend turns out to be the main protagonist. And so the father comes in, and the two kids, the two boys, the younger boy and the older boy, who is Angelo. His real name is Angelo. He'll go call himself Bruno later on. Angelo and his little brother hide. It's a little game. The father comes in, plays the game. They're still hiding, and these guys come in, and we learn that the father works as a mafioso. And these three guys come in and basically try and kill him, and he fights back. They shoot him, kill him. The youngest brother runs out, and the mother grabs him and starts begging for their lives. Meanwhile, the older brother, Angelo, is still hiding in the closet and witnesses the rest of his family's murder. He runs out. He's able to escape. Runs to his buddy's place. His buddy puts him up for the night, and then the next morning, Angelo knows he has to run away, because if he doesn't, they're going to track him down and kill him, because there can't be any witnesses, right? So 7-8 years passed, and we see Angelo as an adult, and he's living in this place, and in this like one room shackle apartment, just really kind of run down. And he is given this letter by some of the gossiping ladies down the stairwell, and it's there's no name to it, just his name on it and his address, but there's no way in care of. And he opens it up, and a picture of his younger brother comes out of it, and he picks up a letter, and he gets this really evil ass smile on his face. And then the story moves that he goes back to his hometown, which is called Lawless, by the way. And the dynamic there, this is during Prohibition, so this is all about running alcohol, gin, rum, whiskey, the whole 9 yards. Turns out his friend is actually pretty smart, is pretty good with chemicals, and he's making probably the best hooch in town, right? So Angelo shows up and he says, "Hey, look, I'm going under this alias, Bruno. We're just gonna tag along. If you don't mind, I'm going to tag along with you, and I'm going to help you with your little bit of business." And his friend goes, "Well, I don't want to be bought out by the mafia." And his friend is just like, well, about that. So Angelo and his friend's name is Nero, and no, I'm sorry, it's not Nero. Anyway, he and his friend go off and try to sell it. Things happen, and they get in good with I believe it's the Venetti family, and it goes on from there. And then the friend realizes that Angelo is on a revenge trip, and the letter that he has been given is from an anonymous person who says he was a friend of his father's, and says, here are the three people that you saw in your home that killed your father. Do what you want to do with this information. So Angelo goes on the rest of the story is a revenge trip of Angelo manipulating these mafia families to get his own revenge. The power dynamic of the families is such that there are actually three crime families. One of them is based out of Chicago, obviously Al Capone, and Al Capone is telling these two families in Lawless, "Hey, you got to play good with each other, because we need to make money, not war." And these two rival factions are always at each other's throats, and they're just about to cross the line to warfare, like mafioso warfare, but not quite, because they know that if they do that, Chicago might come down and stomp both of them into the ground. At which point Angelo is going, how can I use this to my advantage? So that's where I'm at in the story. All right, so let's talk about a review of this. So the production of this anime is okay. The animation is nothing. It's not bad. Certainly not bad, but it's not anything memorable. Um, it's not, and it's like I said, there's nothing bad about it. But you'll watch it and just be like, okay, there's really nothing special about this. It's clear, like the animation is clear. There's not a whole lot of blurriness to it. Like unintentional blurriness to it. Character designs are fine. Um, the voice acting, I watched this in the English dub. The voice acting, voice acting is unfortunate on certain levels. For most of the main characters that we're dealing with, the accents are done fairly well. We're talking about 1920s, 1930s speak, so you have a lot of that kind of lexicon being dropped. So it's not a little bit of cursing, but not a whole lot, and some interesting turns of phrases that were popular then that people might not know now. Some of the lesser characters or characters that are on screen for like 2 seconds have this absurd over the top accents, like theater kid kind of stuff. And like when they start doing the Italian, like the New Jersey Italian accent in the Midwest, it doesn't work. So there's some stuff here going on in the production of it which is not great. Again, it's serviceable, but there'll be points where you'll be like, okay, that was kind of funny, unintentionally so. But the nice thing is that it doesn't really distract that much from the action when it happens and the story. The story is very good. I'm liking where we're going with the twists and turns. You already see the problem. I don't want to spoil it for you, but by the end of episode 3, you're gonna be like, oh dear, this is happening, and he wants to kill that guy, but are becoming friends. Okay, I spoiled it there for you. Sorry, a little bit of spoiler, but you can kind of see where it's going. And this is actually Angelo's plan all along anyway. So at episode 3, like I said, it's 12 episodes, so I'm about a quarter of the way through it. So we'll see where this takes us. I'm actually looking forward to it. I normally don't talk about viewer reviews or viewer percentages, like Rotten Tomatoes and things like that. But this does get a 92%, and a lot of people were saying, like, I thought that, like, when I was looking at the production, I'm like, oh, this is really unfortunate because there's a really good story here, and when the action is pretty good, but some of this production is unfortunate, and I hope this doesn't really. I hope when I do the review of this that people are going, oh, it sucked. Well, I don't need to worry. A lot of people see the same things that I do, but they still give it a 92% on Crunchyroll. So I was gratified to see that, to know that people were able to get past those production values, which is kind of important because I really do like this. I really do like this. Now, I'll be honest, this is not on the level of Golden Kamuy, Vinland Saga, or Dandadan, or Ranma 1/2, the reboot, which I really, really love. But this is a very solid anime for me, and I'm going to enjoy continuing watching this. And I'm happy that it's actually 12 episodes because this means that I can actually finish it. How many series have we gotten into where we start and we go, oh, we really like it, and it's just like 58 episodes long, right? And you were just like, oh, how am I going to get through this? So I'm happy about the fact that it's only about 12 episodes and then a OVA that was done later on, which I know nothing about. One of the interesting things, though, that you will see that is done in anime quite frequently is they'll take homages or they'll rip something as a tongue-in-cheek Easter egg kind of thing from other anime or other movies, like iconic movies. 91 Days is no different. One of the things you'll see is that the font and format of 91 Days, when you see the actual, like cover picture of it, right? You'll be like, if you've read The Godfather by Mario Puzo, you'll be like, hey, wait a minute. So you'll see that. There is a scene in episode 2 where Angelo looks like Robert De Niro right before Robert De Niro does his hit Maronzani in Godfather 2. It's really kind of cool. So if you know your Godfather stuff from Mario Puzo in the movies, you'll see some Easter eggs in here. So did I like this series? Yes, I did. Will I continue watching it? Yes, I will. Do I think you should watch it? Well, if you like crime dramas, if you like things out of the 30s, if you like things in that time period, and if you liked Baccano, you're probably going to like this. But you do have to like gangsters. You like gangster movies. You do have to like things like the gangster element of Baccano. There's no mystical element, by the way, of in 91 Days. This is pure human drama. But you can kind of see echoes of Baccano in there. And it is definitely action. If your thing is more magical girls and idol and things like that, not up your alley. This is not going to do it for you. I would even suggest that if you liked Akaba Maid War, you might like this. Maybe there's some tangential things there. So yeah, you kind of have to like the genre to enjoy this. But if you're willing to do that, then I think you'll be pleased with what you have. You just kind of have to get through some of the production values. So there it is. Yes, go see 91 Days. It's on Crunchyroll right now. Only 12 episodes, and you should be able to binge watch this. Yeah, 2 thumbs up. All right, so here's some bonus material. Retrievercon. Yes, Retrievercon. You've probably never heard of it. Even if you lived in Baltimore City or Baltimore County, you may have never, ever heard of this. If you are a student at UMBC, you might know about it. So Retrievercon, what is it? Well, originally I was not going to go simply because of stuff that was happening in my life at that moment. And I'll get more into that at the end of the video. But things kind of went in a slightly different direction, and it enabled me to go and enjoy and support my friends at Retrievercon who are doing panels. So what is Retrievercon? Okay, so Retrievercon gets its name from the UMBC, University of Maryland, Baltimore County mascot, which is the Retriever, Chesapeake Bay Retriever. Yes, that was the mascot. And yes, I graduated from UMBC way back in the day. Retrievercon is run by the student group Anime Club. So it's a student club on the UMBC campus. The club formed officially, I think, a semester after I graduated. So they've been around for a while. At UMBC, which is a cool thing because that means they have longevity and people have interest, and that's always a nice thing. The convention itself has been around for, I think, if our contact, we had a nice conversation with him at the end of it. If I remember correctly, I think he said it's about 10 years. They've been doing it for about 10 years now, and which kind of surprised me because I didn't know anything about it. But there's a reason why I didn't know anything about it, is because it is a student organization. And so the Retrievercon is a convention for people, not only just the anime club, but for people who might be interested in anime who are students at UMBC. So there's kind of a little bit of a built-in cap there. And they want to make sure that the vast majority of the people who attend Retrievercon are actually students. I don't feel too bad. I'm an alum, so I feel like I count. So there is that. So what that makes this convention is that it's a one-day convention. Starts in the morning about 10:30, goes on to about 8 o'clock. And this is a very panel-heavy, activity-heavy convention. So you're not going to you don't really have video rooms. You don't have guests, like you don't have voice actors, or at least not this year. And but what this is it's engaging people with panels and with certain activities or games or things like that. Karaoke. There's at the end of it, just there's a little mini rave. A guy DJ sets up in the sports zone, which is kind of like the little bar area of the Commons at UMBC. And just to kind of give you an idea of the size and scope of Retrievercon, right at the end of it, we asked him, how many people do you think you had come in? And he goes, well, over the years, it always is between 100 and 200 people. I think we had a good turnout this year. I think it was somewhere between 130 and 150 people. Very small. One might even say tiny convention. But there's some benefits to that. Okay, so you have a very dedicated small vendor area. And it's not going to be, Crunchyroll is not going to be there. But what you are going to get is you wonderful artistic people that like to make things and draw things and make interesting things out there that make me want to buy a whole bunch of stuff. I was good this year and I didn't buy anything, but there were quite a few things that I was just like, and people are very creative and very skilled, things that my hands can't do. So small vendor area. But like I said, this is mostly panels. You had the sports zone area, which is kind of like a common area / bar, but no alcohol was served, and that kind of a thing. So you had panels going on there. You had panels going on in regular classrooms. You had a common area, another common area that was kind of big and bright, and so a lot of like the things like one of the guys from the Otaku Brain Trust ran a little trivia game out there, so that's a nice place for that. And also just kind of give you an idea of the scope. As part of the budget, they just went ahead and went to Papa John's and bought a whole mess load of pizza, cheese, sausage, pepperoni, 3 different types, some desserts, and like 40 liters of soda. And that was part of their budget. And so if you showed up to Retrievercon, which is free, yes, you heard that correctly, it's free. You just show up. There is an information desk, but there's no badges or anything like that. You just literally show up. And when I showed up, I had no idea this pizza was there. And then Brent Newhall from Anime Archaeology and the Otaku Brain Trust said, "Steve, there's free pizzas down there." I'm like, because who's going to say no to free pizza, honestly, right? So that just kind of gives you the scope. And so there were some interesting panels there. I went there to support Alan from the Otaku Brain Trust, and of course my friend Brent Newhall from Anime Archaeology. Both of them, I think Alan had two. He did the trivia thing, which apparently people were really interested in. And we watched him to go do the last panel of the day, which was Makoto Shinkai. So we got the Weathering with You, Your Name, all that stuff. We talked all about that, including the Rad Wimps and all that fun stuff. So that was nice. Brent did, I think he did like 4 or 5 panels. So by the end of the day, he's like, yeah, I got nothing here. I got no voice. But so I was there, and I did not, again, I'll explain later why I didn't have a panel there, but I just was able to be a congoer this time and just kind of sit back and enjoy the show, so to speak. Nice time, good time hanging out with people I know. Interesting convention there. A fun thing to do for a Saturday. Again, this is a one day convention. And like I said, it's panel heavy. So the vibe is very laid back. So if you just want to show up to something that's, in your wheelhouse, anime wheelhouse, and you just want to come in and just maybe cosplay a little bit and just walk around, talk to a couple people, sit down in a couple panels, and just, it's not like I have to get to the next thing because Spike Spiegel's going to be there, Steve Bloom doing Spike Spiegel, none of that, pressure or anything like that. You can just do what you want. So that's kind of the attraction for Retrievercon, especially if you're a UMBC student and you're part of the anime club. I'm sure you really enjoyed that. But here's the thing. I think this is a great con if you're a panelist, if you like to do panels at other cons and things like that. I think this is a really great place for you to sort of test run with an audience of your panel. So you get your panel together, you think it's really good and all that stuff, and you want to make it the best you can. Of course, you want to present a good panel at Retrievercon, right? But it's kind of good way to test out those unique subjects, test out maybe something different that you want to do in your panels or something like that, see what the reactions are and learn from it. So I think that is for a panelist. I think you have not only the benefit of being a panelist and doing the thing, but also learning maybe what people like and learning that maybe there are some parts of your panel that probably don't work, and judging on the reaction of the audience. And so I think that's very beneficial for panelists. So yeah, RetrieverCon, I will, if schedule permits, next year I will of course sneak in there, even though I'm not a student. But I can say I'm an alum. And I should be there because I'm an alum. I want to make sure everything's okay, right? Now, so if you are a student at UMBC and you didn't go to RetrieverCon this year, or you didn't know about it, now you do. And I say go support the anime club and support those guys and support RetrieverCon, and most importantly, have a good time like I did. It was a fun time. I enjoyed it. Thank you, RetrieverCon. Okay, so that's it for 91 Days, a gangster anime. I hope you guys watch it, particularly if you like that genre. I think you'll enjoy it. Give it a go. Yes, RetrieverCon, that was fun. A much needed break given what was going on in my life. And yeah, if you're at UMBC, actually, if you're a student at UMBC, that's a thing that is available to you. So I hope you go next year and give them some love. So yes, just wanted to take a moment here and talk about, for those of you who might have been watching the channel here for the past couple weeks or so, a family member got really sick and we had to unfortunately put her into hospice, and she did pass away. Her name was Kathy Sternfeld, member of our family. And so I just wanted to put that out there. I'm updating the video. I had actually pre-recorded this, and so I just decided to do a different ending here because I just kind of wanted to give you guys an update on what was going on. So yes, she did unfortunately pass away. Extraordinarily woman, tough, very tough. Just to give you an idea, she had a double kidney transplant. One of those kidneys failed, so she had another transplant for that kidney and a liver transplant. And on top of that, she had been living with PKD all her life. So there's a lot of health problems. So we knew this was going to happen, right? We just thought we would have another couple years with her. The fact that she made it to her mid-70s is kind of amazing. So as you might imagine, I was kind of making content when I could, because I wasn't sure what my life was going to look like after this, after she passed, and I just wanted to have something for you guys. I don't have to worry about that as much now. Things have obviously settled down. Like, for example, originally I was not going to go to RetrieverCon, but because of her passing. But by the time we hit Thursday, what we needed to do, set up the memorial services and stuff like that, which aren't going to happen until May, and kind of just as a family dealing with this, life unfortunately does have to go on, so we do have to move forward. So by about Thursday, the family was just like, we were in a good place. People were able to smile a little bit more, be a little bit more, talk about happy memories and things like that, and be able to start to move on. In case you're wondering, she did donate her body to a military medical college. Her family is Army, in case you're wondering. And so, there's that. So that's why the services aren't going to happen for another couple months. But, whenever something like this happens and you get to that point where you're just like, yeah, I can't sit around anymore. I kind of have to do my life now again. And that's kind of where we're at. And so I opted to go to RetrieverCon on Saturday simply because I was just like, this will be a good break. It's a low impact kind of thing. I don't have a panel going on. I can just kind of sit there, be me, and watch my friends and support my friends. And that's kind of what I did. And it was very, very nice to be able to do that. So for those of you who have been watching the channel for a long time, you know that my mother passed away. And believe it or not, that's going to be 6 years this coming November. I can't believe it. It seems like yesterday. And I asked people on the anniversary or around the anniversary of my mother's death to do a little something. And I'm going to ask you again to do a little something here for Kathy Sternfeld. This is not something where I'm going to ask you donate to blah blah blah, or do some impossible task or whatever. No. This is just something something that you can do easily, if you could. For my mom, I ask for small acts of kindness for other people. For Kathy, it's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to ask you to do something a little bit different, and it might actually be a little bit fun for you, honestly. Kathy was a big history buff, particularly with Civil War, but we had really nice conversations about history and things like that. So what I would like you to do is, if you could, and I think you'll like doing this, I would like you to find a historical anime and watch it. Or maybe read a historical manga and watch it. Or maybe go to a library and check out a book on history. Maybe it doesn't have to be Japanese history. It can be Civil War history like she liked. But if you want to do Japanese history, German history, whatever it is, you do you. But do something historical. Visit a monument. Take a picture of it. Kind of read and kind of get an understanding of the history of that particular place. Again, don't spend any money. Like if you live here in Baltimore, just take a drive out to Fort McHenry. If you live in D.C., go to one of the museums, or go to the Washington Monument, or the Lincoln Memorial, or something, or maybe in your hometown, maybe you have like a veteran statue or something like that. So do something historical and kind of take a look at it and understand it. Like, take a moment to understand the significance of it. And if you would do that, in honor of Kathy Sternfeld, I would greatly appreciate that. That would be quite awesome. So there we go. Again, I think we're going to be on regular programming schedule. I actually do have that pre-recorded video that will probably come up either next week or the week after, just because it's a cool video. I actually do like it. But we're going to have a normal schedule until the end of May. So there you go. So take care of yourselves, okay? Love you guys. I want to meet you out there in the world, and say hi and have a conversation and, talk about anime. What's your favorite anime? Things like that, and have a nice little over snacks and a coffee or something. That would be kind of cool. But that means you got to take care of yourselves, because I do love you guys. And so take care of yourselves, and I will see you next week. And as always, watch more anime.